At 82, I've gathered a treasure trove of life lessons, but one decision still weighs heavily on my heart: moving into a nursing home. It seemed like the perfect solution at the time my family urged me toward it, painting a rosy picture of round-the-clock care, cozy comfort, and peace of mind that I couldn't resist. I trusted their assurances, stepping in with hope for a smoother chapter. But the moment I crossed that threshold, the truth unraveled, revealing a reality far removed from their promises. Perhaps you're contemplating this path for yourself or a loved one, believing it's the safest harbor or a way to ease life's burdens. Pause for a moment. I'm here to unveil 6 hard-won truths I wish someone had shared before I made that leap. Because life in a nursing home isn't just a shift, it's a profound change that's incredibly difficult to reverse. Journey with me to the end, because these revelations might surprise you, and they could be the guiding light someone you cherish needs before committing to this life-altering step. We're about to explore a narrative that could reshape your future or that of someone dear. Intrigued by my regret? The first lesson is coming. Don't miss this turning point. Before we start, if this strikes a chord, please like the video to support more stories from the heart. If you're new, subscribe and tap the bell to catch every update. Love it? Drop a 1 in the comments. Have feedback? Type 0. Your voice helps me craft what's next. Let's begin. The first jolt that struck me after moving into the nursing home wasn't the tiny room, the strict meal times, or the parade of unfamiliar faces. It was the abrupt loss of command over my own existence. Before this transition, I was the master of my domain. I chose when to greet the dawn, what flavors to savor in my kitchen, and how to weave my days, whether with a leisurely garden stroll, the aroma of my homemade stew, or the comfort of a novel in my cherished armchair. But once inside, that sovereignty evaporated. Life ran on a clock I didn't wind. Breakfast arrived at a predetermined hour, even if hunger eluded me, and lights out enforced rest whether I was ready or not. A simple wish to step outside? It required permission and a staff member's availability, transforming a basic freedom into a bureaucratic hurdle. My first morning there remains etched in memory. I awoke in a bed that felt alien, reached for my book, and halted. This wasn't my haven. My shelves of stories, my worn-in chair, the trinkets I'd collected over decades were absent, swapped for sterile walls and a hollow echo. Decisions like what to eat or wear morphed into privileges, not rights. The deepest wound came when I realized reclaiming that independence was like climbing a mountain with no summit in sight. You adapt by necessity, cease challenging the menu, stop pleading for walks, and bend to their cadence. But in that bending, a fragment of your essence slips away, leaving a void you didn't anticipate. I watched Mrs. Clara, a vibrant 79-year-old, fade into this mold. She adored gardening but stopped requesting time with the facility's plants, her spirit dimming with each refusal. If you're considering a nursing home, ask, are you prepared to relinquish the freedoms that define your days? Because once they're gone, the longing for them grows louder than you'd ever imagine. A 2022 study from the Journal of Geriatric Psychology revealed that loss of autonomy correlates with a 25% decline in self-esteem among seniors, a stark warning of the emotional cost. Cultural shifts toward institutional care often overlook this, but a 2023 rural health report shows that rural communities where elders stay home with support show higher life satisfaction. Feeling the loss already? The next truth cuts deeper. Stay with me. One of the most painful truths I encountered was the gradual sensation of being left behind by the world outside. When I first arrived, my family painted a comforting picture: my daughter's weekly visits, my grandchildren's weekend bursts of energy. For a fleeting moment, it felt like my past life still held me close. But as the months unfolded, those connections frayed. My daughter's in-person stops turned into phone calls, and my grandchildren's schedules brimming with school and work pushed me to the edges. Holidays became a silent ordeal. Promises of gatherings dissolved into last-minute cancellations, leaving me in the common room, my eyes tracing the door alongside others hoping today would be different. It wasn't a lack of love life, simply accelerated beyond those walls. When you're not part of the daily hum, it's easy for family to assume you're thriving, that you've adjusted, that your need for them has lessened. Yet the reality bites. The longer you reside there, the simpler it becomes to drift from their thoughts. One quiet evening, I clutched my phone, debating a call to my son. I didn't want to burden him, so I laid it down, and in that stillness, the truth settled. This was my new reality, waiting for a link that might never materialize. This isolation isn't mine alone. A 2023 Aging Today report found that 60% of nursing home residents feel isolated within 6 months, a figure that highlights the emotional toll of disconnection. If you're mulling this move, steel yourself for the solitude, even with the best intentions from loved ones, Mr. James, an 83-year-old neighbor, shared how his weekly video chats dwindled to a monthly flicker, leaving him unmoored. Ask yourself, can you weather the quiet when visits fade? Technology like video calls can help, but only if maintained. A 2024 digital aging study noted a 15% loneliness drop with consistent virtual contact. Loneliness creeping in? The next lesson is a reality check. Keep watching. When I moved into the nursing home, I saw it as a change of scenery, not a shift in my life's purpose. At home, I thrived on small duties, watering my plants, brewing my coffee, tidying my nook. These acts, however minor, ignited my mornings with meaning. But here, those threads unraveled. Meals were served, rooms were scrubbed by others, and my plants were someone else's charge. At first, I embraced the reprieve from chores, imagining a restful retreat. Yet weeks later, a void opened. Days stretched into a monotonous wait, devoid of action or intent. I saw this mirrored in others. George, an 84-year-old carpenter, exemplified it. At home, his garage buzzed with projects, his hands alive with skill. Here, with no tools or tasks, he retreated, his once busy fingers now still. "I feel useless," he murmured, and I felt that weight in my chest. Without something to nurture or pursue, life loses its vibrancy. The mind stagnates. The body follows, and you risk blending into a sea of residents where time crawls but purpose stalls. A 2021 gerontology review tied a lack of purpose to a 30% rise in depression among seniors, emphasizing the need to cling to meaning. If you're eyeing a nursing home, reflect. What lights your inner fire? Because preserving that spark demands effort once you're within those walls. I tried knitting to fill the gap, but the lack of space and materials dimmed my enthusiasm. Purpose needs room to breathe. Purpose slipping away. The next truth is a health wake-up. Stay tuned. Before this move, I was thriving at 80. No marathons, but I managed walks, cooked meals, and stayed active with morning stretches and grocery runs. Then the shift began. Meals arrived at my door, and a button brought help, so I moved less. My legs stiffened. Sitting became my norm, and standing felt like hoisting a burden. My muscles, honed by years of routine, eroded faster than I could grasp. This wasn't an isolated experience. Others followed the same arc. Residents who entered on their own feet soon leaned on wheelchairs, their vigor siphoned by inactivity. Alice, an 81-year-old I befriended, embodied this. She arrived with a spring in her step, vowing daily walks. Months later, she relied on a walker, then a wheelchair, sighing, "I aged a decade in months." The more assistance we accepted, the more dependent we grew. In a setting crafted for convenience, movement, the cornerstone of survival, slipped away unnoticed. Had I foreseen this rapid decline, I'd have battled to stay active even on weary days. A 2022 Physical Therapy Journal study documented a 20% annual muscle loss from sedentary behavior in nursing homes. A stark reminder to keep moving. Ask, Will you muster the will to stay active when ease beckons? I started chair exercises to fight back, but the lack of encouragement made it tough. Motivation needs support. Health fading fast. The next lesson guards your dignity. Don't look away. One oversight I regret was underestimating the erosion of privacy and dignity. At home, I ruled my space, closing my door for solitude or managing tasks at my own pace. In the nursing home, privacy became a scarce treasure. Staff entered for checks, shared areas hummed with activity, and even dressing or using the bathroom often required aid. I knew they meant well, but relying on help for lifelong habits stung my prude. Want a shower? Wait for a staff slot. Need the restroom? The call button might mean a delay that tested patience. Meal choices were set if the menu clashed with your taste. There was no recourse. Roommates added complexity. Not all got private rooms, and I heard tales of disruptive companions, loud, unkempt, or confused, shattering sleep. My gentle roommate was a relief, but the space never felt fully mine. Dignity waned with unannounced knocks. When I was treated like a case file, not a person. My routines dictated by an alien schedule. You adjust, but a piece of your soul dims. Mrs. Helen, 80, confided how constant oversight reduced her to a number, a sentiment I shared. Ask, can you part with the privacy you've held dear? A 2023 Dignity and Care study linked reduced privacy to a 35% drop in self-worth, urging alternatives like home aids. Dignity at risk? The final truth could change your plans. Stay to the end. I convinced myself this move was a trial, a step I could reverse if it didn't suit me. But leaving proved a formidable obstacle I hadn't foreseen. Initially, it seemed simple: dislike it and return home. Yet the home transformed. My house stood vacant. Upkeep grew daunting, and my children, with good intentions, sold possessions or eyed renting it out. When I broached leaving, they wavered. Are you sure you can cope? Isn't it safer here? Their concern anchored me. Months of inactivity sapped my strength, eroding the confidence to live solo. I met others with parallel tales, residents who tested the waters but found departure elusive as vitality waned or homes were sold. The longer you linger, the more the nursing home envelops your world, and the life beyond feels like a fading memory. No one warns that this could be a one-way journey. A 2023 long-term care study reported that 70% of residents face physical or financial barriers to leaving, a sobering reality. Ask, are you prepared for this potential trap? I explored day programs to bridge home life, but the transition gap was vast. Planning is key. Stuck longer than expected? The conclusion holds your key. Don't miss it. Looking back, I cherish growing older, but lament assuming a nursing home was my sole haven. I sought comfort and safety, only to find a world that eroded my independence, privacy, purpose, health, and identity. Are nursing homes always wrong? Not for everyone. Some require their support. But before you decide, weigh the cost. If I could turn back time, I'd battle to stay home, seek tailored help, and confirm this necessity. If you face this choice, pause. Is this truly your best option, or just the path of least resistance? Your routines, your autonomy, your essence are worth guarding as long as feasible. Share a lesson or plan in the comments. I'm eager to listen. Like, subscribe, and share to spread this wisdom. Your road to a life on your terms begins now. Take it with courage. Ready to decide wisely? Comment, plan, and let's build your future together.